I'd like to start off by thanking Christy and the Brain Injury Center for giving me this opportunity. I've been involved with the Brain Injury Center for a little over 10 years now, and this might be my 5th or 6th evening of Magical Memories that I've attended. And I've been dreaming of this day for so long that by the time Chrissy finally asked me, I had half my speech ready. And I've been to enough of these events to know that you guys are expecting me to talk about how I was involved in a car accident that left me with a traumatic brain injury and spinal cord injuries that caused me to have a stroke. But I'm going to talk about that. I'll come back to that, I swear. But I'd like to acknowledge the fact that I am so much more than just my brain injury. And I am so much more than just a bad thing that happened. And that goes for every single person in this building tonight. I mean, like, whether you're a brain injury survivor or not, our identities are not defined by the bad things that happen to us, but rather how we choose to respond when life knocks us down. Yeah. And we can't seem to find a way to get back up. So I am not just my brain injury, but you know what I am? I'm smart. Yeah. I'm resilient. I'm persistent. Yeah. I'm confident in myself and my abilities to achieve anything that I set my mind to in life. I swear that I'm humble. I might be one of the most humble people I know. I'm a survivor and I'm a thriver. So now that I got that out of the way, now that I got that out of the way, I'd like to explain just how much my life has changed from before until after my accident. Before my accident, I wasn't really a bad person, but I was really good at finding excuses and ways to give up on things whenever I faced any sort of obstacle or challenge along the way. So I think I dropped out of college like 4 or 5 times before eventually being kicked out entirely with a 0.4 GPA. Yeah, that's not a 4.0. That's basically like as if I had taken 18 classes and got 1 seat in art appreciation class one summer, which is actually exactly what I did. After I dropped out of school, I just jumped around from part-time job to part-time job, barely holding a job long enough for me to support the non-stop party lifestyle that I was living while pursuing a career as a nightclub DJ. I was living life very irresponsibly and like I thought that I was invincible and was going to live forever. Luckily, that life came to an end on August 23rd of 2014, the night of the car accident that nearly killed me and changed the course of my life forever. I have no memory of that night whatsoever, but what I've been able to piece together was that I guess I was DJing a show out in Lancaster the night before when I decided to drive home in the middle of the night. Apparently, I only got about as far as Sylmar when I fell asleep at the wheel, and I somehow managed to flip the car, which caused the car to roll and the roof of the car to come in on my head. This left me with a traumatic brain injury and several spinal cord injuries that somehow did something to the artery in my neck that caused me to have a stroke as well. I kind of broke my face too, but we'll talk about that later. I'm really lucky to be alive right now, considering that when the ambulance arrived, I was pronounced dead on arrival. I had to be resuscitated and rushed to the hospital where I was placed into a 3-week coma while they tried to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. I like to say that I don't regret anything from my past because it's through all those experiences and lessons that have brought me to become the man that I am today. But if there is one thing that I honestly say that I do regret, it's putting my friends and family through that pain and anxiety during those 3 weeks when all the doctors could tell them whether I was going to survive or ever be the same person again was that we'll just have to wait and see. I've always felt really guilty about that, and it's been the idea of making it up to you guys and proving that I'm still here for a reason that's kept me motivated throughout my recovery. Yeah, I know during those 3 weeks I had a long laundry list of surgeries. I know that I had surgery on my head. They were able to fuse my spine back together again. They did their best to try and fix my face, but my mom still says I'm handsome, so that's And once I woke up, it was a really dark and confusing time for me. I mean, just imagine waking up one day and everything that you thought you knew about yourself in your life was gone. It was all different. I mean, I was blind in one eye. I was paralyzed on the left side of my body. I was hooked up to all these different machines, and I was in so much pain, I had no idea how I got there or what happened. But at some point I realized, that I had one of two options. I could either just shut myself off from the world, spend the rest of my life, basically feeling sorry for myself, giving up on my dreams, and just angry at the world for the situation that I found myself in. Or I could surround myself with friends and family who gave me the support and positivity that I needed to get back out into the world again. I also realized at one point that I had a lot of people who were depending on me not to give up. I have 3 little sisters that were looking up to me, one of which had my baby niece just this morning too. So I realized, that I had a lot of people depending on me not to give up. So as soon as I was physically able to, I went through aggressive therapy programs everywhere from Gala down to Irvine. I've seen a lot of improvement over the years, considering that at one point I was completely confined to a bed, to then being able to sit up in a wheelchair, and then taking my first steps with a cane just several months after my accident. And as many people here know, there isn't just one straight path to recovery. There's been a lot of setbacks along the way. And I'm nowhere near where I thought I was going to be at this point in my recovery. And I've just about accepted the fact that I'm never going to be the same person again. But I look back at how far I've come, and that gives me motivation to keep pushing. I was really lucky to have been introduced to the Brain Injury Center the summer after my accident. It was the summer of 2015. It's not me.
You're okay.
It was the summer of 2015, and I couldn't have been introduced to you guys at such a pivotal point in my life. I had just gotten home from the hospital, and I was having a really hard time adjusting to my new life, my new limitations. But you guys showed me, you guys had years of experience and knowledge to pass down to me because you had been dealing with your brain injuries for much longer than me. But you guys showed me that I didn't have to wait for my life to be ideal or perfect for me to be happy and to go after what I wanted in life. You guys even motivated me to get back into DJing as a hobby and to go back to school again, which would have been hard enough without a brain injury, considering that I had that 0.4 GPA to school. I'm happy to tell you guys that I graduated from Cal State Channel Islands last spring with a degree in communication studies and a member of several honor societies. And I also just started my first semester of pursuing my master's degree as well. And I was really lucky to have been offered a job with the Brain Injury Center as part of our care coordination and outreach teams, where I have a chance to spread awareness of the support and resources that we offer to other brain injury survivors. And it feels really good to give back to an organization who's already done so much for me. And anyways, I'm wrapping it up, I swear. I'm not up here trying to brag or show off or anything like that, but I like to share my story with the world, because you never know if there's somebody out there who needs to hear it and say, you know what, if he can do it, then I can do it too. Because everyone has their own limitations and their own obstacles in life, but somebody once told me that if you take on those obstacles and hard times as if you were trying to climb a mountain, and if you stayed persistent and fought your way to the top of that mountain, pretty soon you'll be on top of Mount Everest with the world at your feet and your dreams blowing through your hair. Thank you.